Our story starts, like all good stories, in the deep and lush mountains of... Wait, no, that's the wrong book, sorry. Our story, the correct one this time, starts aboard a weird organic ship, a spaceship. Lizelle, a Githyanki, was stuck in a pod. Unable to move, she watched in horror as a mind flayer inserted a tadpole into her eye. The mind flayer then returned to the bridge of the ship, where he attacked the city of Baldur's Gate, destroying several buildings and kidnapping dozens of citizens. Fortunately, other Githyankis arrived and attacked the Nautiloid, forcing the mind flayer to jump away and saving countless innocents. This is where our heroes come in. As the ship jumped from realm to realm, the Giths pursued and damaged it, causing several people to wake up from the pods. Ursenda, Bilmeter Porriger, and Henrietta all found themselves in the same room free of the pods. Bilmeter, a druid gnome, didn't remember who he was. The only things he knew were his name, that he was in terrible danger, and that he had a horrible migraine. Henrietta, a rogue high elf, was all too eager to leave the horrid place they found themselves in, waving her newfound friends toward the door. But Ursenda, the drow wizard of the group, couldn't help herself and went to inspect the tadpoles floating in a nearby reservoir, which promptly exploded as she touched it. As they all left the chamber they were in, they heard someone calling for help. To their surprise, that someone was a brain? Bilmeter, the druid, decided to investigate, discovering the brain to be its own creature, separate from the body it was attached to.
Please! Before they return! They return.
Upon extracting it from the head, it was overcome by an urge to poke holes everywhere into it. But the brain managed to wiggle its way out of his hands and run away.
Ah.
Il est parti.
Il s'en va.
Moving out of that cursed room, they got jumped by the Githyanki Lae'zel.
Elle est un petit rêve.
This is your end.
Fortunately, her and Bilmeter's mind intertwined before she could strike. They were connected by the brain worms they received from the mind flayers. Understanding what was happening, Lae'zel decided to enroll the odd group to help her escape the ship before the tadpoles hitching a ride in the brain turned them all into mind flayers. Making their way to the bridge of the ship, they first encountered a few imps, a sign they were in Avernus, the first of the 9 hells. As it was their first fight as a group, they naturally stumbled a bit and got in each other's way, but they eventually found their footing and got out victorious. As they travelled further in the ship, they found themselves face to face with someone stuck in the pod asking for help, and a few others seemingly unconscious, strapped to weird chairs. Before they could react though, our heroes were attacked by a pair of intellect devourers, walking brains similar to the one they freed earlier. These weak creatures proved no challenge for the group. Having made quick work of the brainlets, Ursenda walked towards one of the pods. Ignoring the woman screaming inside, she instead directed her attention to the console sitting next to the illicit contraption. She tried hitting the console, a tried and true technique, but nothing happened. While Ursenda was busy, Bilmeter followed his gnomish instincts and pressed all the buttons he could find, causing the previously unconscious people strapped to the weird chairs to attack everyone, no doubt under mind flayer control. With no time to waste, the group of unlikely allies dispatched those poor souls, freeing them of a likely much worse fate.
C'était un beau doublé, Tisby.
Magnifique.
After unfortunately turning another trapped prisoner into a mind flayer,
Que j'ai fait. Voilà les yeux rouges. Oh, ah, miam. Ah,
our heroes found a key which matched the illicit console. Henrietta inserted it into the previously dormant organic machine, freeing the woman who had been begging for help. Shadowheart, the now free woman, decided to join our heroes on their adventure to survive the burning spaceship, and they all made their way to the bridge. What they saw, upon opening the door, wasn't what they had hoped. Devilish creatures had made their way onto the ship and were fighting mind flayers. Fortunately for them, the mind flayers were under the impression that they could control our heroes, and instead of attacking them, they ordered them to run for the control post and jump the ship to safety. Slashing their way through the imps and hellballs, our heroes reached the front of the bridge. Lae'zel rushed at the weird nautiloid tentacles, connected them, and jumped the ship out of Avernus. Back in Faerun, the nautiloid appeared in the sky, its burning carcass slowly descending to the ground. Henrietta and the others were still on board, getting thrown against the walls as the ship continued its descent. She got a final look at an injured mind flayer before being struck by a debris and thrown out of the ship, falling hundreds of feet to what would surely be her death. This concludes the first episode of the Gauche Company's adventure. While this was a fairly classic start to a fantastic story, future installments will prove more eventful for our friends, with the next episode specifically giving them a reason to earn their somewhat clumsy name